D1A Rugby Semifinals here in Moraga as the St. Mary's Gaels at St. Mary's Stadium are hosting the BYU Cougars in the national semifinals. Griffin Snyder here on the call with my broadcast partner, Marty Storty, as the two teams line up for the anthem. We will take a break and listen to that. When we come back, we will have the starting lineups and kickoff here in Moraga on the campus of St. Mary's. That concludes the national anthem. Really quick, going to go through these starting lineups. First for the home St. Mary's Gaels, Hunter Chalancif, Nate Deegan, John Battle Wilson, Cole Coakley, Leighton Delzell, Matthew Abbas, Kaipona Kayoshi, King Matu at the 8-man, scrum half Hunter Maudlin, fly half Junior Wakavesi, wings Yosefa Toya Ivao and Sasaya Pongi, centers Dom Bisag and Eric Storty, Eric's brother Mario at fullback. For BYU, Ryan Briggs, Kaiki Piana, James Tenney, Kyle Clintworth, Jake Barker, Lilo Clark, Brooke Vitohi, Ben Austin, Samuel Belknap, the Rudy Schultz finalist Wyatt Perry at fly half, Zeb Mendenhall, Cole Simu, John Campbell, Tielu Sagala, and Tayson Hammer rounds out the lineup. Marty, what are you expecting to see here today? A big-time matchup between these two.
Yeah, there's only 4 left, and if the Navy was able to top life, that means 3, and this is the game with the winner advancing to the national championships. Both teams solid, both teams very deep. Styles are a little bit different, but we'll see who controls it. I think the day is going to be won on the defensive side, who can make the tackles and control the gain line.
And last week we saw a very defensive matchup as well when the Gaels hosted the Cal Bears. So I would not be surprised if you are correct about that, as the Gaels take possession of the opening kickoff, and it is time to get underway. These two teams did meet earlier in the season in March. The Gaels swing this one out wide to Toya Ivao, and as he tries to offload it, he steps into touch. So BYU with an early line out in offensive territory, Marty.
Yeah, unfortunate ending right there. JT was stepped on the sideline, had a nice back pass into Cahal Coakley. Looked like they had some green in front of him. Unfortunately stepped out. We'll see the first line out for BYU.
Yeah, so the first line up for them. But as I was mentioning, that previous matchup in Provo, Utah earlier in the year is BYU unable to handle the line out. Referees seem unsure of who that one went out off of. Going to be giving BYU possession of that one.
I think he's calling Leighton for a knock on there as he was battling for that ball in the air, knocked it forward. Now it'll be the first scrum of the day with a really big pack from BYU against the sturdy Gaels.
Yeah, good recognition right there, Marty. It looked like the two were having a conversation. It was kind of tough to tell what they were going to go with on the ruling. And as you just mentioned, the first scrum we will see today, that obviously sets a big-time tone for both sides. St. Mary's obviously very strong in their scrums. BYU doing a good job here, also very strong. Come out with that one to Perry, back to Perry. They're swinging it out wide. They have some space, but it's closed quickly as that pass was kind of lobbed up into the air on its way to the winger for BYU. They're now trying to make their way through the middle of the pitch, swinging it back out to the right. Try and find an inside line. A good, strong run from the two Piena. Perry, their source of offense for BYU. Obviously, the Rudy Schultz finalist for the BYU side, does a lot of the offensive work for them at the 10 position. BYU swinging it back to the middle. Some good Gaels tackling right here, Marty. Exactly what you were asking for early on from both sides. Right now, St. Mary's is on the defensive. Good offload there from BYU. Some good steps from the fullback Hammer, but not a whole lot of room to be gained. Swinging it out wide to the right once again. Seems like BYU trying to swing it back and forth. They have numbers on the outside. Get it out to the winger, but Toi'i out ready with a big, strong tackle outside. He took down Sagala. BYU, once again, they're doing a good job with these rucks, holding on to possession, being very smart. Perry now the one with the ball. He's taken down by a couple of Gaels. BYU now moving back towards the middle, trying to run a little bit of an overlap there. Doesn't quite work. Matu drives him back all the way to the 22. BYU trying to find a crack in this St. Mary's defense, but really just hovering around the 22-meter line. St. Mary's doing a good job with their tackling and their structure. Again, just slow with the ball. They possessed it for almost the full first 4 minutes. A big tackle there from Hunter Chalansif. Drives the BYU player to the ground. Good tackling job by him, and more good tackling from St. Mary's. Marty, they're being very defensive right now.
Yeah, BYU's doing a great job maintaining possession, though, and had several pass back ends and able to get this corner again, gain some ground, but solid tackling by St. Mary's, not letting BYU through the gain line.
Yeah, Toi'i Iva was there again, not able to make the tackle, but Kayoshi there to back him up and clean it up. A big tackle there from John Wilson. Obviously a very strong younger player for this Gaels side. BYU trying to swing it back out to the left side of the pitch. This one finally gets loose. We've been talking about how they've maintained possession. They're still able to do so even after the loose ball. Good, strong tackle there from Wakavesi. Driven back for about a step and then countered. Still just BYU not able to find a line through the Gaels defense. They're going to try and get this outside on the right again. Try to go for a little bit of a grubber, but it seems like the kick was fanned. They're still holding on to possession, but now starting to move backwards. They try and find a line here, try and get the offload to their winger, and St. Mary's is making up ground on the defensive side. One being swung back towards the middle of the pitch. Oh, and Nate Deegan just rips it out of the arms of the BYU offense. And Wakavesi's going to try a grubber kick through. Eric Storty and Pongi giving chase. Going to be tough to deal with for BYU. They're going to slide down and just take it into touch. Eric wants to move quickly, but BYU's going to stand there and mark him. But that was some strong defense, wasn't it, Marty?
Yeah, that good on BYU, though, maintaining possession throughout that whole time till that ball was cleanly stripped by the Gaels. And then once you see that attack go, a nice little chip through by junior, Inoki Wakavesi, chased down. BYU was able to grab the ball, but it was right on the sideline, went out of bounds. Looks like it's a line out for the Gaels at the 5-meter line. great opportunity for attack here from St. Mary's.
And the defense has just turned it into offense, Marty. I think you hit the key to the game. I think you hit the nail on the head. Just some great tackling from the Gaels as now they're going to try and push them all. They're moving strong, and it finally collapses inside the 5, but it's going to be due to what BYU was doing in there, and St. Mary's draws the penalty.
Yeah, BYU was going backwards. Their option there was to collapse the maul. Referee identified it, called a penalty to St. Mary's. St. Mary's now electing for the scrum. Looks like they're going to try to attack off the scrum. We can look at a couple of options here. As we saw last week, King Matu taking the ball right, powering through for the first try last week. They've also gone back out to the backs with some great angles by Don Bisag, Eric Storty, and finishing by JT and Mario. So we'll see which option they select.
Yeah, and happy to see King Matu out there and healthy for the St. Mary's side. This scrum, they get the ball out. Maudlin's going to go to Wakavesi. Wakavesi tries to step one. Good tackling from the BYU defense. And now they're going to have to set up some phases now, will the Gaels. Forwards moving here. That's Delzell who goes down just outside the 5-meter line. Maudlin to Wakavesi. He's going to try it again. Eric Storty to Bisag. Bisag goes to Toya Eval, a little bit low. Big stiff arm there from him. Strong run. Bisag now with possession. He's going to make his way down the sideline and in for the try. Dom Bisag, and the Gaels strike first.
Yeah, great hands by the inside backs there, popping it out to Bisag, to JT with a really, really strong run. Broke a tackle, committed that other defender, and post-contact was able to ship it out to Bisag down the line, stayed in bounds, drove through that final tackler to dot it down for the try. Great execution there by the backs at St. Mary's, but well-maintained possession early on by their forwards.
Incredibly strong running from both Toya Eval and Bisag. Great job on the outside. Staying in play as well, very important there. But really all set up by that Gaels defense and tackling that they maintained for almost a full 5 minutes.
Yeah, that outstanding strip and then a nice chip through by Inoki. So those were the keys to getting great territory possession down there. And then the Gaels, through their attack, was able to dot it down on the sideline.
Mario Storty, again, kicking conversions for the Gaels. This is a long one. It is tracking, and it's called no good. It looked like maybe it got over that left upright, but doesn't get the call. Gaels do lead by a score of 5-0, almost 10 minutes into the first half, and strong showing from the Gaels defense, a strong showing from the BYU defense as well. They held their ground for a moment there. It's just, if the Gaels can get a line out at the 5-meter line, a scrum at the 5-meter line, eventually they're going to punch it in.
Yeah, BYU for years has been known as a very physical and big team, so no surprise that their tackling is spot on today.
The Gaels now possess inside their own territory after the kickoff, doing a good job swinging it out to the backs. Bisag steps one, tries to step another. Instead, he's going to go down around his own 22. Deegan just going to pick and drive, not wasting any time. Maudlin over to Matu. Matu with a big, strong run, tries to offload, gets loose. Kayoshi does a great job diving on it. And they set up a ruck as well, so good job maintaining possession. You don't want another turnover in your own half like we saw in those first couple of minutes. I mean, it's that St. Mary's had to play some very stout defense. They are going to elect to kick here. Eric Storty drives that one into BYU territory. BYU takes possession now. Mario Storty with a good open field tackle, cleaned up by Kayoshi. Now BYU with possession in their own half. Good tackle from the forwards, Chalancif. And it looks like maybe that was Coakley in there with them. BYU trying to swing it back, trying to go for a kick, trying to find some open space. This one bouncing as Toya Eval takes possession. Got Mario Storty in support, finds him. He steps one, tries to step another, but a good strong tackle from the center, Campbell. This one being swung now. Wilson, the one who goes down with it. Maudlin swings out to Delzell. Delzell with a good strong run. Gaels trying to make their way out to their own 40. Wakavesi out to Kayoshi. Kayoshi takes a step. He's got Eric Storty on the offload. Eric Storty has Wakavesi in support, and that one just off the fingertips of Wakavesi for a knock-on.
Yeah, great gap right there. It all goes back to that initial kick by the Gaels. That ball was possessed outside their 22, which is why Eric Storty kept it in bounds, countered by BYU. Eventually, they tried to kick it through. St. Mary's really dynamic attack there. Just a bit of an off pass, disconnect there between Eric and Junior, who have been playing together for several years. So we'll hopefully see them correct that mistake. But that gives BYU defending scrum just outside their 22.
No, and that's a good point to mention, Marty, that Eric kept that one in play, and that also made it important for the Gaels to get down the field and make that tackle. It helped them gain a lot of territory, gave them a good opportunity. They now have pushed BYU back a little bit further. The Gaels currently leading 5-0. BYU does a good job on that scrum, kicking it out wide. And that one's dropped by the fullback for a knock-on. Gaels do possess. They're going to use the advantage here as Matu with a big, strong run. Looks for support, stays on his feet instead across the 22. Maudlin to Kyoshi. Kyoshi's going to try a step. Second BYU tackler comes in and poaches. BYU now with possession inside their own 22. BYU swinging it out wide, trying to find those numbers on the far side. There was a lot of green grass, but the ground was closing. A little bit of a behind-the-back offload there. BYU making up some ground now. And St. Mary's draws the penalty there on the ruck. I believe he was not releasing that one, Marty.
Yeah, just as their tight head prop, James Tenney did, by poaching the ball on Pono, the Gaels were able to poach that legal position, standing over. The support wasn't there for BYU, giving St. Mary's an opportunity to kick for touch.
And it's no surprise that Tenney was able to do something like that. He was big in the BYU win in the Western Region semifinals, the national quarterfinals, in that win at Central Washington. Tenney with 2 tries in that one. A very, very impressive win from Coach Steve St. Pierre and his team, winning at Central Washington and avenging a loss from earlier in the season as the Gaels successful in their lineout. Kyoshi to Wakavesi. Gaels trying to get their backs into space. This one almost intercepted by BYU. St. Mary's able to take possession off of the knock-on, so a little bit of a lucky break as Eric Storty tries to step and find a line. Then he tries to offload to Kyoshi. They're going to go back to that knock-on advantage, and St. Mary's player on the ground behind the play. I think that might be Delzell, and I am correct. That is Delzell.
Yeah, not sure what happened to Leighton. He's up.
Seems more frustrated than anything with what happened with whatever the BYU player did.
Yeah, I wasn't exactly sure what that was, but Delzell doesn't look happy. He's up and running, though, so we're hoping he stays in the game here. They're going to go back to the original knock-on, no advantage, substantive advantage gained. So now it'll be a scrum to the Gaels just outside BYU's 22-meter line.
Yep, so they're going to take possession here. The scoreboard showing 25 minutes to go here in the first half. Gaels lead 5-0. The scrum is successful, gets it out to Wakavesi to Bisag. Bisag looking for someone. Mario Storty almost has a line, steps through a tackler. He does find a line. He gets it all the way down just outside the 5-meter line. Good strong run. Wakavesi going to go long over to Pongi. Pongi is in for the try. Gaels extend the lead. Wakavesi, what a skip pass from him.
Yeah, it was a great line run by Mario. Nice little pop pass by Bisag. Mario gained the line, put the defense on their heels there, so allowing St. Mary's to be on their front foot there. Beautiful skip pass out to Pongi, and his strong-legged running style was able to dot it down for the second try of the day.
Yeah, that was definitely started when Mario Storty found that gap, was able to take advantage and make that run. So a 10-0 Gaels lead pending the conversion.
Yeah, tough angle here for Mario. Just missed that previous kick on the right-footed side, left side of the field. Now he's got the same distance and angle, but on the right side of the field, which is a little bit more difficult for a right-footed kicker. But hopefully he's able to slot it through and give the Gaels a bigger lead. But very difficult kick approaching for Mario.
Yeah, this is about as tough as it gets for a right-footed kicker all the way out over there. The wind is calm today. We've got about 70-degree weather, beautiful day for some rugby. Mario Storti's kick is up and no good. Just a little bit pulled to the left and a little bit short, but the Gaels extend their lead to 10 points with their second try of the day coming from Sasaya Pongi. St. Mary's is off to a hot start here today, Marty.
Yeah, once again, taking advantage of the situations in front of them, some good turnover possession. Here they were in their attack mode inside of BYU's territory and was able eventually to pull it out.
It looks like maybe offside's being called on that kickoff there, Marty.
Yeah, I can't see the number, but the BYU player was clearly in front by probably 4 or 5 yards before the ball was drop kicked. It's going to come back and be a scrum down for St. Mary's. So another mistake by BYU.
Yeah, and another big opportunity for the Gaels.
Yeah, looks like they're playing a stacked attack right now with Eric and Mario behind him. Got Dom Bisag out to Eric's right and Junior Wakavesi out to the left with the wings on the outside. So a balanced attack here. We'll see how BYU's defending it.
That's a dangerous attack. They go out to the right side. That's Bisag's side. Eric Storti to Mario. Mario looking for Pongi. He's going to hold on to it instead through the contact. And that is all the way down to the 22-meter line. So a good set play there from St. Mary's. Gains a lot of territory. But BYU does a good job defending, and they're able to come up with a poach.
Yeah, looks like the referee's calling a penalty on St. Mary's coming in sideways for the ruck. You saw his left hand come in at a sideways angle, indicating that one of the St. Mary's players came in from the side, not through the tunnel, which is straight in front of the ball. So penalty to BYU. Kick for touch. Looks like it's going to be their line out right around their 40-meter line.
Yeah, not the greatest kick. Does a good job getting it into touch, making sure it doesn't stay in play for the Gaels' defense and dangerous back line, but didn't even get it out across BYU's own 40. BYU now an opportunity on a line out. That one gets away from him and gets away from Perry. That one's knocked on. It was already called dead by the official as well. So St. Mary's now, the way they've been scrumming, I wouldn't be surprised to see them scrum down right here, Marty.
Yeah, it looked like the referee blew the whistle a little bit too quick there, not giving St. Mary's advantage. But blew the whistle nonetheless. It's going to be the knock-on. Looked like the referee was very apologetic, saying he should have let it play through. But in either case, St. Mary's has great possession, great opportunity here with a scrum down just on the 22-meter line of BYU.
And you broke down the setup for us last time, Marty. This time we've got Wakavesi, the one feeding it through the scrum, Maudlin out in support. And they're going to swing it over to Maudlin. He's got Mario. Mario's got Toia Ivao. He's got some green grass in front of him. He steps 2, 3 defenders, 4 defenders. Toia Ivao cannot be stopped. That's another try.
Well, that was an individual effort there above many others. There were some really nice passes out there. A nice side pass by Mario right before he got tackled, and then the rest is on JT. Fantastic athlete, sophomore at St. Mary's. Was a dual threat quarterback in high school, chose to follow the rugby path, and we're reaping the benefits of that. Some outstanding steps, taking the momentum away from BYU. Probably 4 or 5 defenders there that had the opportunity to touch him, and he ended up going through them all, dotting it down for the 3rd try of the day for St. Mary's.
I can't imagine trying to tackle him as a quarterback. It's one thing to try and tackle him when he's just carrying the ball, but if he's also a passing threat, that seems incredibly dangerous. As you saw, he stepped 4 BYU defenders on his way in for the try, making it a 15-0 lead. Mario Storti steps up and delivers that conversion through a much easier setup towards the middle of the pitch. And the Gaels now lead 17-0, and they want that date with Navy. They want that opportunity in 2 weeks to play for a national championship.
Yeah, they still have a lot of road to hoe right now. Looks like referees stopping the clock for the retrieval of the ball. But there's a lot of game left today. There's just about 18 minutes left in the first half, followed by another 40. St. Mary's is going to have to keep the pressure on. As you saw up in BYU when they played up in Provo, BYU had a tremendous second half and came back in dramatic fashion in a lot of ways and had more opportunities. So St. Mary's would do well here by keeping the pedal down.
And a good job right there maintaining that kickoff. It was a good kick from the BYU side. And what do you know? There's a knock-on from the Gaels, so BYU takes possession deep in St. Mary's territory. BYU did something similar to Central Washington, jumped out to a 33-5 lead last week, ended up winning by that score of 40-24, and Central Washington just couldn't catch them due to that early start. And St. Mary's, again, starting strong early, but as you mentioned, BYU, no stranger to a comeback effort against this St. Mary's side. Now Perry with it. He goes overhanded out to his 4. Good job getting the ball out to his second rower. You can see why Perry's such an effective player, but St. Mary's takes possession there out of the ruck.
Yeah, very nice pass, but the danger was that now that ball carrier was isolated. He took a little step to the sideline there, got tackled. Pono was right on it for the poach there. Referee saw it in front of him. Good turnover, well done by Pono, giving St. Mary's the opportunity to kick for touch, which they do successfully. Now it's their line out just short of the 50-meter line.
Yeah, every time BYU swings it out wide and looks like they might have a little bit of green grass to work with, St. Mary's outside defenders are just closing those gaps. We've seen it on the near side and right there on the far side, as you just mentioned. It was just closed quickly, and only one BYU player there couldn't defend the ruck for himself. That line out, though, is unsuccessful.
Yeah, it looks like a free kick to BYU. They're choosing a scrum. Looked like Nate Deegan. There was a bit of a miscommunication there. You're not allowed as a hooker to pump fake the throw, which it looked like he did. Referee saw it, gave BYU a free kick, and now it'll be a scrum down to BYU.
Another opportunity here for BYU inside St. Mary's territory. They haven't quite been able to take advantage of those so far.
Yeah, you don't want to give BYU too many opportunities, though. That St. Mary's will do well by cutting down on their mistakes.
BYU, a successful scrum, trying to drive it a little bit. Take possession out, and Marty, what is the signal there from our official?
I'm not exactly sure. I can't tell if the scrum rotated or not, but he's given the ball back to BYU, having a conversation with their front row. Not exactly.
Also, what's the tactic behind how long they're pushing their scrum? It seems like they're not taking the ball out very quickly.
Yeah, if you're in the scrum, you're able to drive it just like in a mall where you can gain territory there. You could put the defenders on their back foot, makes it harder for them to get out and play defense. So that's a tactic St. Mary's has used quite often when they've had the stronger scrum. BYU looks like they're doing that now as well.
Yeah, they have a very strong scrum, as you mentioned, a physical program and team. As they are once again this year, they're able to swing this one out wide. But again, the Gaels doing a good job closing the ground. This one kicked by BYU, but it's going to go back to an earlier spot.
Yeah, it looks like in that scrum, referee saw Hunter Maudlin sneak up past the offside line, had the arm out right away, played advantage, none gained by BYU. Goes back as a penalty to where that infraction occurred. BYU now looks like they're going to kick for touch.
Yep, they're going to kick for touch after a couple attempted scrums and Maudlin stepping off sides. This one kicked not all the way into touch. Eric Story kicks that one away, but it was dropped by Pongi.
Yeah, unfortunate there for St. Mary's. It's a knock-on by dropped pass. Referee's touch judge actually was the one that identified it. Referee concurred, giving BYU now a very good opportunity here. That's their scrum. We've seen them push the ball a couple times, creating an offsides by the scrum half of St. Mary's. We'll see if they elect to try to drive this through, which we have seen in years past. St. Mary's has done it a few times, drive it all the way through. allowing the 8-man to touch it down. But we'll see if BYU has the strength and stamina.
Well, the St. Mary's bench is right there providing as much strength and energy as they can by just yelling at their guys. And St. Mary's with a good push. This one is retrieved by BYU, trying to swing it out towards the middle of the pitch. They get it down to about the 5-meter line. St. Mary's with a strong counter ruck. And they take possession there, Marty.
Yeah, trying to see, can't tell if that's a penalty or a scrum. It looks like he's identifying the BYU player, knocking it on or something like that, because an infraction would have been a penalty if they had hands in the ruck or something like that. So whatever it ended up being, it looks like it's a scrum down to St. Mary's.
Yeah, and a good job by St. Mary's. That was a strong counter ruck to really create that situation. And as you mentioned, we do our best up here. We don't have a microphone or a headset connected with our official. Why we need you, Marty. You're very good at identifying what's going on. This one gets swung out. Mario Storti with a good step. Then tackled by the center of BYU. I believe that was Campbell. Delzell now moving. Trying to get out across the 22. Not able to do so. Maudlin's going to go back to Eric Storti. He's going to kick. This one out towards midfield and into touch. So good job again. Eric Storti doing a good job taking advantage of his angles and gaining as much territory as possible with these kicks.
Yeah, that was a good job. St. Mary's attack never went beyond the 22, so he's able to kick for touch in that circumstance because he's behind the 22. So good kick for touch there, relieving some of the territorial pressure that BYU was putting on St. Mary's. Now it's BYU's line out just past midfield.
Yep, so BYU with an opportunity here in St. Mary's territory. And this one, Marty, what's our call here?
Yeah, it looks like I identified as not straight. It was thrown over the BYU player. Knocked on by St. Mary's, even though it was on the BYU side. Referee identified it right away, giving St. Mary's a scrum. So another change of possession by St. Mary's. Great pressure in the line out there, allowing that or forcing that hooker to throw the ball in a little bit crooked, giving St. Mary's the scrum.
Yeah, good job on the line out. And just like that, with that good kick from Eric Storti, and then a good job defending the line out, the Gaels gain this territory and set up another one of their dangerous scrum attacks. When you see these backs lined up, it's definitely dangerous once St. Mary's can get the ball out to them. Successful scrum once again. Maudlin to Wakavesi. Wakavesi to Pongi. Pongi tries to get it to Eric Storti, but knocked on by Wyatt Perry. Tried to jump it and intercept it. It would have been a great play, but instead St. Mary's going to have a scrum down now just outside their 40.
Yeah, some of the guys from St. Mary's looking for a penalty call there because you can't slap the ball down like that, but obviously the fly half was looking to catch that ball and it just went off his hands. So it's going to be a regular knock on. St. Mary's going backwards a little bit here. Looks like they need to tighten up some of their attacks. BYU strategy of throwing out what they call a hammer. So one of the centers, in that occasion, it was the fly half, really darting out, looking to intercept a ball there.
That's one way to try and stop the St. Mary's backs in their attack when they get out into space. They're very dangerous. Maudlin to Eric Storti. Eric finds Mario. Mario tries to get it to Pongi. Pongi not able to possess. And there goes the center for BYU. Bstad giving chase, trying to stop him, and dives in for the try. That is Cole Simu, I believe, who came away with that one and ran about 40 meters all by himself.
Yeah, tough break for St. Mary's there. Looks like it was a pop pass that was knocked on, and in an attempt to retrieve it, went straight into the BYU hands that was able to counter run there. Again, BYU taking advantage of a mistake made by St. Mary's, giving them 5 points. So St. Mary's is going to have to do a better job identifying the defensive structure of BYU and start running behind some of those guys that are darting out and creating some lanes there. So St. Mary's is smart enough. They'll realize that, and they'll make some adjustments, one would hope, to counter that defensive style of BYU currently.
Yeah, it seems like a little bit more of a high-risk, high-reward style of defense. You're taking the risk of trying to jump some of those passes, and it might open up a gap for St. Mary's, but right there, they're able to take advantage. But at the same time, St. Mary's does have 3 tries, and we saw Mario take a gap earlier. Maybe that was a little bit of a product of that defensive strategy. Kick now coming from Tayson Hammer is up and good. A great conversion kick from the fullback out wide. And that makes it a 17-7 lead for the Gaels. So BYU showing signs of life. They weren't going to roll over. I don't think anybody expected that from this side, from this program.
Yeah, St. Mary's is going to have to counter that. Once again, the BYU defense coming out. You saw their fly half attempt to catch it, knocked it on. Again, they're flying out. So St. Mary's is going to have to adjust their attack to ensure that that ball remains in their possession.
BYU now takes possession, gets it out across their own 22-meter line. This one being swung back. Trying to drive possession up are the Cougars. Not a whole lot of room. We've seen St. Mary's on the defensive, some very strong tackling from them so far today. BYU's going to set up this box kick for the first time today, which is surprising. We haven't seen it yet. We get closer to the end of the first half. Mario Storti goes up and makes the grab in BYU territory. A counter ruck attempt from BYU, but I think he wasn't supported right there, Marty.
Yeah, quick tap by Junior.
Yep, Wakavesi goes quick tap. St. Mary's trying to push it into BYU territory now. And Deegan, as he turns to fire to his teammate, he drops it, and a knock-on now in favor of BYU.
Yeah, another unfortunate circumstance there. Looked like his head turned just at the wrong time, right before he caught the ball. Gaels really looking to counteract some of these mistakes and get back on it, but their defense has held true so far, and they need to continue that and put some pressure on BYU and get them out of their comfort zone.
BYU setting up the scrum. Got 6 minutes and change up on the scoreboard here. As we know every week that what matters is the official's watch on his wrist, not what anybody else has in the stadium. St. Mary's doing a good job against that scrum. Able to blow it up early, not allow BYU to manage a set piece or attack off of it as they pick and drive. Now I believe that was Tenney on the inside. They're going to go back and opt to kick. This one high up into the air. BSAG goes up for it. Tries to bat it back to a teammate, but BYU comes away with possession and now driving into St. Mary's territory. They're going to go kick again. This time try and go a little bit longer. Try and find that 50-22. But this one on the opposite side of the 22 just barely as it bounced back on that hop.
Yeah, that was if you're a BYU fan, that was an unfortunate bounce there. Looked like it was going to go past the 22, allowing BYU to retain possession. But as you said, it bounced backwards this side of the 22, giving St. Mary's the line out. And we'll see if they can correct some of their mistakes and start getting their attack going again.
Yeah, that was just barely. That funny-shaped ball will take funny-shaped bounces. And St. Mary's able to take advantage of getting the line out. Wakavesi now to Eric Storti. Eric Storti finds Matu. Matu did a good job holding that one to his hip. Almost lost possession. It looked like a BYU player wasn't getting out of there, and St. Mary's now awarded a penalty.
Yeah, you've seen a lot of teams employ this strategy against St. Mary's. St. Mary's style is get that ball out quick, and continue on their plays. Strategy is hold the ball in, slow it down. Referee identified that, gave the penalty to that player, allowing Eric to kick for touch, giving St. Mary's their line out here between the midfield and 40-meter line.
Yep, about 45 meters out from their own try zone, about 55 out from the BYU try zone. St. Mary's been pretty solid on the lineouts today. Obviously, Deegan had a little bit of a pump fake issue a little bit ago on the far side, but the last one was successful. Gets this one over the top to Coakley. Very successful once again as Matu now running through this one, trying to perform a little bit of a maul. Doesn't work out. Wakavesi spinning and catching Eric Storti Dummies a little bit of a kick, finds Mario. Mario now out into space. He's running strong. Tries to find an offload in support, not able to do so. That one bounces away, but it was headed backwards. Deegan has Wilson. Wilson down now. Gaels starting to move the ball once again. This one out to Coakley. Coakley's got Toia Eval back to Coakley. Out wide to Abbas now. Abbas has the sideline with Toia Eval in support. But this one going to be called back by the official.
Yeah, it looks like the official saw it as a forward pass there. Brings the ball back, but great handle. St. Mary forwards and backs all running with the ball, all passing. Unfortunately, that one went slightly forward as identified by the referee. But again, a sign of when St. Mary's has the ball in hand, how dangerous they are.
Yeah, incredibly dangerous when they get those guys out into space. I mean, then Toia Eval had the ball right there as we realized it was whistled dead, and we saw what he did last time. He had it with some green grass and some space. But BYU doing a good job defensively, staying strong, trying to limit this St. Mary's offense, and a big push from the St. Mary's scrum, doing a good job not letting BYU get too comfortable. A good job with their structure there. Not much room. Nowhere to go, but they're able to maintain possession, swing it out wide. A cutback now. I believe that is Simu. He's doing a good job for BYU so far today. Gained a lot of meters. Scored that try earlier. Kayoshi with a strong counter-ruck effort. That sets up Deegan for one of his own. BYU still able to maintain possession, though. One of their flankers goes down towards the middle of the pitch with the ball. We're going to try another kick here. Again, high into the air. Going to be Toia Eval going after that one. Makes a good catch, trying to stiff arm. Good tackling there. That was the flanker number 7, Brooke Vaitohi. A good job holding on to Toia Eval and not letting him escape. Maudlin goes out to Wakavesi. Wakavesi looking for some support. He's got Eric Storty, who's got Sasaya Pongi, and a little bit low for another Gaels knock-on in space.
Yeah, again, St. Mary's seeing the gaps, running through them, tightening their passes a little bit. That one, just another unfortunate misstep by St. Mary's on gaining great territory with ball in hand. Unfortunately for them, a knock on there. But going back to the initial thing, looks like BYU's strategy of kicking the ball up, putting the ball up and chasing it down, putting some pressure on the St. Mary's back three. That was a great take by JT right there. Was able to get a little ground and momentum forward, which allowed St. Mary's to get the gain line there.
Yeah, once those backs have the ball in space, they're dangerous. But if you can make them come up and not give them a lot of room to work with, it's almost a way to limit them as well. St. Mary's, once again, doing such a good job off of the scrum. They're so quick to tackle. BYU trying to work in the short side. They've got numbers over there, but not a lot of room to work with as they drive up closer and closer to their 40-meter line. Another strong run from Tenney. That's not surprising at all. That seems to be what he does very consistently. Pick and drive attempt there. The ball is not loose. That was a cleat that I was seeing. One of the players' boots, not the ball bouncing around in there. BYU keeps on trying to set up these pick and drives as they move across their own 40. The scoreboard clock is showing less than a minute remaining here in the first half. The 17-7 lead in favor of St. Mary's, and BYU trying to move this thing slowly as St. Mary's tries to counter ruck, take possession one more time before the end of the half. At the 40-meter line. BYU trying to use their forwards. St. Mary's trying to hold their defensive structure, not allow for any ground to be gained. Both sides just pushing strong up front, Marty. What do you think?
Yeah, BYU's tactic right now is to keep the ball down low. They wanted just to end the half. They kept possession. They knew how much time. Fly half. He kicked it straight out of bounds. Their tactic there was to go in at halftime down 17-7, so that's what they did. The clock ran out on the referee's watch. Once he said it was out, and got rid of it.
Yeah, and a good strategy there. It was going to be tough for them to go a full 60 or so meters to try and put up another try at the end of the first half. So we do head into halftime. St. Mary's leading the BYU Cougars by a score of 17-7. And Marty, what do you expect to see more of in the second half? And a little bit of a recap of the first half. What did you see?
Yeah, it looks like BYU will start there with their attack. It looks like when they're inside their 50, they're kicking the ball up in the air and hoping one of their players can come down, either challenge for possession or tackle the St. Mary's backs and not give them the opportunity to run with the ball in their hands. That last play by them, or sequence by them, that's not how they play normally. They just wanted to get to halftime. So typically they'll run it out. You've seen them get the corner a couple of times. Their big captain, number 8, Ben Austin, you've seen him a few times being the second player to the sideline. Nice little pop pass out. So they've done a lot of great things there. St. Mary's, they just need to eliminate their mistakes, keep possession going, and start linking up better with those passes and catches. When they do, they're tough to stop. You've seen it with 3 of their tries today, and a couple of mistakes prevent more. So they clean that up, and they can score some points in the second half.
Yeah, all 3 of those tries seemed to come in those first 20 minutes or so when they were playing very clean rugby, leading them to this 17-7 lead. So we're going to take a break for at least a few minutes as we wait for the second half of action to continue here in our D1A Rugby Semifinals between the BYU Cougars at St. Mary's Gaels.
So I've got Kieran in.
Both sides taking 7-7 favor of St. Mary's. And Marty, you just began to point out to me, it looks like we have a change at hooker here on and places Nate Deegan there. Deegan had a good first half. One really big on his lineouts as well.
Yeah, that's what's great about St. Mary's is some really good players to come in and sub and give some fresh legs for 40 minutes. So I can't tell if BYU's made any substitutions. Doesn't appear as if they have, but we'll let you know as the game goes.
Quite yet, but I'm sure things will start to change. Just BYU and ball with it. Lantif now with a big strong run. He's trying to make his forward. Out to Wakavesi to Eric on the outside. He's making his way. Has Eric Storty in support, and then Kai down to the 5-meter line, trying to make his way into the Gaels until they got inside the 5, and BYU was going to go quick tap and run, trying to kick that one down the pitch. St. Mary's has plenty of players back to pick it up. BSAG going to be the one to pick it up. He gets tackled down. He's trying to put it back. BYU doing a good job gaining some territory there right as St. Mary's looked like they were going to strike.
Yeah, it looked like that was a poached ball by BYU. Penalty against St. Mary's. Quick tap and kick down the field by BYU, but St. Mary's was able to maintain possession, and looks like they've got a long way to go. But they're
they're going to go back to Eric and have him kick this one into touch, and he wasn't able to get that one to bounce in play, so it's going to come back to just inside the Gaels' own 22 for a BYU lineout.
Yeah, ball went right off the side of his foot there, and it hooked out of bounds. They possessed the ball outside the 22, so the ball's got to bounce in, went straight out. It'll be BYU's lineout right back where the ball was kicked. So BYU with great attacking opportunity with a lineout inside their 22.
Yeah, it looks like the St. Mary's bench is changing their location as they are now in the bleachers here on the near side. BYU a successful line out, trying to push them all, but a strong pushback by the Gaels. BYU not giving up on this one. St. Mary's and them both fighting. Two strong sides. This one gets out for BYU. Matu kind of comes in from the side. It gets cold. BYU all the way down inside the 5 as they're finally taken down. Good job by them. They're going to try and pick and drive this one in. Come up short on the first attempt. The second attempt now, also not able to get it quite into the try zone. Both sides forwards going to be fighting hard here. And there it is. They do get it in. Right there. Waiting to see the number on who that was punching it in. That is number 3, Tenney right there punching it in. Did the same thing against Central Washington and now shrinks that St. Mary's lead.
Yeah, a couple of big mistakes by St. Mary's, getting the ball poached while they're on attack. Chase down the kick. Unfortunate with them being offsides and the quick tap that they were able to do there. And big line out and push by BYU there. Was able to roll that maul. Looked like that line out went to the back, popped it back into a player who had another player linked onto him. They were able to drive it through. Once St. Mary's stopped them, they were able to pick and go. Finally, the tight head prop for BYU, Tenney, was able to drive it through for the try.
Good early push from BYU. Like you said, they were able to get that stop inside their own 5 and kind of flip the game really quickly. It looked like St. Mary's was going to be the ones to strike first. Instead, BYU cuts into the lead, and now Hammer is lining up his conversion kick, and that one is hooked wide left. So a 5.1 try lead for St. Mary's. And the Gaels pointing towards their shifted bench, which has come down to the near side, and trying to feed off of them for some energy. Marty, as we've pointed out so many times before, the program is strong from guy 1 to guy 70. Everybody fully invested.
Yeah, it's definitely a program, not a team, and it's been that way for a lot of years. So we'll have to see if St. Mary's can start eliminating some of their mistakes and get back on the scoreboard here.
BYU does take possession of this kickoff cleanly. They try and find a gap to run or a line to break. BYU now shifting towards our near side, their left side. Trying to find some ground. It looks like scrum half Belknap is going to go for a box kick here. This one actually kicked pretty far out, not as high as Mario Storti takes possession. He's looking to find a line. A lot of BYU tacklers in his way. He does a good job getting out to the 50. He's got plenty of support for that ruck as well. Maudlin's going to go for a kick over the top. That one goes straight into touch. It's going to be BYU with a line out just on the St. Mary's side of the field.
Yeah, good decision there. Looked like that wing was up forward. Plenty of green grass behind him. Maudlin identified that, went for the box kick. You know, another mistake by St. Mary's. It went straight into touch and not touching the ground first or inbounds before it goes out, giving BYU a line out.
Yeah, the right idea, just not great execution as this one gets away from BYU on the line out. Kayoshi with a good, strong tackle. BYU able to maintain possession now inside their own half. Sure they'll take that as Perry tries to chip through it and chase. Mario Storti, the one on it, fakes a kick, steps the man, and he's on the move now. He's out across their own 40. Looked like he had Wakavesi in support just a little bit ahead of him. And Eric Storti now going to try and kick across the 22. The winger back for BYU. That's Zeb Mendenhall who comes away with it. Then Hammer's going to try and kick this one into touch. This one's going to stay in play. Mario Storti now with possession. He's got Wakavesi to his left. He uses it. Wakavesi going to line up a kick. He goes long back to BYU. A little bit of a kicking battle now. BYU counters again with a kick. Mario couldn't see it. He's going to let that one bounce and head into touch. They're going to take the line out. Tough as he battled with the sun there. Couldn't counter with another kick.
Yeah, it looks like it was a bit of a kicking battle there, that possession. Both BYU and St. Mary's kicking the ball back and forth, trying to get some territory. BYU's kick right there at the end was the good kick that got in the sun, unable to catch it, bounced out, still a line out to St. Mary's.
This line out successful. Delzell to Maudlin. Maudlin to Wakavesi, who gets it to Bisag. Bisag tackled by a couple of Cougars. He goes down. St. Mary's trying to hold their possession. They do. Maudlin to Delzell. He gets it back to Maudlin. Maudlin goes out wide to Wakavesi. Wakavesi's got Eric Storti. Eric Storti takes a good step, but he's downed now. Gaels out to their own 40, trying to find Kayoshi. That one knocked on. Matu tries to dive on it. This one's still live, not a dead ball yet. And now the official's going to blow it dead with no advantage gained.
Yeah, the mistakes are piling up for the Gaels right now. They got to start figuring it out. They don't want to give BYU any more opportunities than they earn. So here's another free opportunity for BYU, just a mishandled ball by St. Mary's. Now put St. Mary's back on the defense.
BYU going to scrum down here at St. Mary's 40-meter line. The official giving some comments to the BYU side, making sure they run this correctly. That is Belknap. They're able to get it out. Moving it a little bit, not too much room to work. St. Mary's now tackling a big, strong hit there between BSAG and the BYU carrier. They're going to switch the field now, try and work back the other way towards the middle of the pitch. Matu and Tingen were there to answer. This one goes high, a leaping grab from Tenney. This one now being swung out to the one. That's Briggs who goes down with possession. Belknap now out to Perry. Perry trying to make something happen. A big stiff arm there, tries to get away. Mario Storti drags him down. He does get the offload to his fullback Hammer. BYU now down inside the 5-meter line. They're once again going to rely on these forwards to try and pick and drive this one in. BYU doing a good job so far in the second half, almost 10 minutes in now. Pushing down towards the try line. Good, strong defense from the Gaels, just kept outside the try line. No, it is not. He is in. Not quite sure who that is quite yet, but BYU ties it up. That is the hooker, Kaiki Piena. And just like that, BYU has come out very strong for this second half.
Yeah, good possession there. They were able to get it through. A missed tackle on their fly half there allowed them to get St. Mary's on their back foot, get on the front foot. A couple of nice nifty passes, strong-legged run by their fullback. And then once they get their big forwards within a couple of meters of the line, they've been able to drive it through. Second try of the day in that style for BYU.
Now Hammer lines up what is a relatively makeable conversion kick. Take the lead. It's a 17-17 ball game. Taysom Hammer, the one taking the kicking duties for BYU. Also on a favorable side for the right-footed kicker. Lining it up now. A couple of Gaels look like they're going to give an effort. Maybe rush him, make sure he doesn't get too comfortable on his approach. This one is up, and it is hooked to the left, so no good, and this one stays tied. That is very important in a 17-17 ball game.
Yeah, a bit of a hook there on the right-footed side. That's the danger of a ball in that angle, to hook it through there, and that's what he did. Unable to put BYU on top. So 17-17, we got about less than 30 minutes to go. St. Mary's has given up 2 tries here in the second half. They need to start counterbalancing that and start playing some rugby like they can.
Yeah, a lot of it coming from some of those knock-ons. B-Sag with a big tackle on the fullback Hammer. And a strong counter ruck. King Matu's got the ball. Just like that, the Gaels are down inside the 5. Maudlin now swings out to Tingen. Tingen trying to make something happen. He's down inside the 5. B-Sag there to help with the ruck. St. Mary's able to draw a penalty inside the 5. What a flip right there, turning the tables.
Yeah, BYU in an offside position there from the side, trying to poach it, putting St. Mary's in a position where they now, instead of kicking for touch, they're going to go for a scrum. And it looks like Junior's going back to 9, so they may have some kind of play here with King Matu, or it could come back out to the backs. You don't know.
It seems like when the Gaels get closer in their scrums, they try and get the ball in Wakavesi's hands earlier rather than into space further back the pitch.
Yeah, Junior's got a lot of skills. He can run, pass, catch. He's got a great cutback step as well. So he adds a flair of offense there that not many people in the country have. So when you put him there, that puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
It also allows Maudlin to kind of get back, almost like a quarterback in the shotgun formation, a little bit more space for him to find his teammates, a little bit more time for him to maybe survey his options. This one bounces out to Eric Storey. Eric Storey has a line, and he gets in for the try. The Gaels retake the lead off of the inside scrum. Wakavesi out to Eric Storey and in for the try.
Yeah, bit of luck there for the Gaels. That ball was designed to go to B-Sag's hand for a nice straight line. Unfortunately, the ball skipped past him a little bit from down low. Eric Storey saw it, was able to pick it up. Defense wasn't organized well enough, even though it was the first phase of that possession. He was able to drive through and dot it down for the 4th try of the day for the Gaels. Mario to attempt the conversion.
Mario now with a conversion up the middle of the pitch. We saw just a moment ago that right-footed kicker can sometimes hook this one when it's this close. A little bit too hard, but Mario takes care of it and extends the St. Mary's lead. They lead now 24-17, that full 7-point lead for the Gaels. And it looks like we do have a sub for the St. Mary's side as King Matu leaves. I believe Kaipono Kayoshi will most likely be playing the 8-man role now, and Sione Ofa is going to replace his spot at flanker. A great showing from Matu, and he's the one who made that possession happen when he attacked off the kickoff right behind Dom Bisag.
Yeah, he had a great drive there in the ruck. Dom Bisag had a great tackle, was able to gain possession.
Mario Storey takes the kickoff, runs hard into the BYU defense out across the 22. Maudlin goes to Wilson. Wilson, good tackle there from BYU. He's not an easy guy to take down. Eric Storey steps one. He's got some ground now. He looks for some support. He's got Bisag over the top. Great pass over to Kayoshi. Kayoshi's got green grass. He will go all the way. Kaipono Kayoshi off the Eric Storty gap found. Lobs it over to B-Sag Marty. That is the Gaels dangerous in space.
Yeah, not many teams in the country are going to try that kind of attack inside their 22, and Eric was able to find a gap, bit of a missed tackle there, and some really nifty passing to B-Sag, to Pono, and Pono could be a back, forward, could do anything he wants, was able to outrun the BYU defenders and dot it down for the 5th try of the day for the Gaels.
Yeah, St. Mary's retaking the momentum here in the second half. BYU came out strong, put up 10 points in a row unanswered to start the second half. St. Mary's has answered with back-to-back tries of their own.
Yeah, you just saw that, 2 possessions. The Gaels woke up there. Initially, that first kickoff, great tackle by B-Sag, possession stolen by King Matu. They were able to drive it through. This time, St. Mary's inside their 22 with a great gap run there by Eric, started it out, and then some nifty passing and great long runs by the Gaels. So attacking, scoring 2 different ways there, which is fantastic.
That one pushed a little bit by Mario. So a 12-point lead in favor of St. Mary's. It is 29-17.
Yeah, good answer by St. Mary's. BYU came out hard in the second half, was able to take advantage of the mistakes, put a couple scores on, giving them a lot of momentum, and St. Mary's came back hard with those last 2 tries to put a stop to that.
And BYU didn't roll over before. Don't expect them to roll over now. Eric Storty's going to go ahead and kick that one after possessing it inside the 22, and it's going to be a BYU line out just inside their own territory.
Yeah, good clearing kick there by Eric. It's out past the 50-meter line, which we've talked about before, giving a little relief there. Now BYU having to play from their half.
BYU having to play from their own half when down 12 is not where you want to be. We saw them apply a lot of pressure early on in the second half. Going to see if they can do it again. This time, though, the knock-on occurs after the lineout doesn't go their way. St. Mary's able to take possession. Now Wilson going to try and drive this one forward. A good tackle there by BYU. BYU's forwards have done a great job tackling. Wakavesi going to try a little grubber kick through. That one possessed by Hammer on the other side. And then as St. Mary's tries to counter the ruck, doesn't quite go their way, and BYU gifted a penalty.
Yeah, it looks like it was a chip through by Junior trying to regain possession there. That ball wasn't kicked hard enough to go out of bounds. Possessed well by the fullback, St. Mary's.
That one not kicked into touch, so Mario Storty going to take it, and he's got a head of steam as he moves, tries a juke, gets out across the 50, and then no support there for him in the ruck, and BYU takes possession.
Yeah, tough call there by St. Mary's. Looked like the tackler was on his knees, and the St. Mary's guy came in from the side, giving them a penalty. Unfortunate. St. Mary's continuing to make some of these mistakes. They've got to figure it out and get back on the front foot again. They're up 12. They got to make sure they do a better job.
And after Perry has missed touch on a couple of kicks, he's going to hand off the kicking duties there to Hammer. Hammer does a great job right there with that kick. Gets it inside the St. Mary's 22 for a line out.
Yeah, that's the goal anytime you're out there midfield-ish, is to try to get the ball inside the 22 if you have a penalty kick. Obviously, it depends on the angle, but that's a good kick. BYU with an attacking line out here between the 22 and the goal line.
A big opportunity for BYU. And again, the line out just goes too far. Kayoshi's going to go ahead and try a little bit of a kick play. It's taken in by the 14. That was Sagala. Now it's being swung out to the left side. There's Simu with it now. He goes over to Campbell. Campbell still possessing as he makes his way towards the sideline, taken now by B-Sag. Eric Storty trying to counter ruck. He gets in there. The ball is loose, and it's going to be gifted to BYU, I believe, off a little bit of a knock-on there in the counter ruck.
Yeah, referees calling a knock-on the counter ruck right there, giving the scrum down to BYU. Tough to see what happened there, but St. Mary's had an opportunity to steal possession there, and unfortunately for them, it didn't happen. Now it'll be a scrum down for BYU.
So BYU, again, an opportunity in St. Mary's territory, down 12 points with about 20 minutes or so remaining. Both sides giving it all they got there in the scrum. This one bounces out to Perry. Perry goes for the dummy. Wakavesi with a strong tackle. Perry with a strong run himself as well. One's going out to the left side. That's Tenney, who's been so strong today, but he stood up there by Chalancif and Wilson. Those are two guys that can do a great job. And then Wilson with a strong counter ruck. BYU having a tough time getting this one out. They finally do. And St. Mary's is starting to drive them backwards with their strong tackling and forwards. BYU now going to try and get it out into space, however. That's the flanker and 7 by Tohi. He's taken down after getting a couple of meters. BYU again trying to swing it out wide. There's Simu as he goes down. Bisag and Storty on the tackle. A little bit of a delayed pitch there out wide. The hooker who scored earlier, Piena, seeing what he can do. Perry now working. He's got some help in a winger, and that's a lot of room. Mario Storti, the last line of defense, not able to make the play. And then a knock-on. The Cougars were inside the 5. They tried an offload to finish it, and that one is dropped. So St. Mary's catches another break. Wakavesi goes back to Eric Storti. Eric Storti simply going to kick this one into touch and allow the Gaels defense to reset.
Yeah, not sure why referee's not playing advantage there.
They're having a conversation about it. He's talking
St.
to
Mary's
the captain,
earned the
Kayoshi.
knock-on. Not sure about that. Not sure about that ruling there. Clear knock-on. Referee had advantage. Maybe they kicked it away once the ball's kicked for touch. Don't know that rule well enough, but either way, referee's identifying a line out for for BYU.
So BYU does have the line out. Gets it in just barely, almost long again. Seems to be a problem. This one by Tohi with a strong run, able to find a few meters to gain. BYU now going to try and pick and drive as they get inside the 5. St. Mary's forwards doing their best to hold strong, not allow BYU any room. We might have a penalty advantage being played out here in favor of the Cougars. BYU still pushing inside the 5. The Gaels forwards doing their best to keep them stuck. An over-the-top pass out to Perry. Perry steps and dives in for the try. Can see why he's considered one of the best players in the nation. Good job finishing that one, but ultimately it came from a moment ago when they were able to gain that possession in the first place.
Yeah, it all goes back to that knock-on by BYU that ended up being a line out for them. Nice take. They're throwing back to the back of the line out now. St. Mary's has put a lot of pressure on them in the middle of the line out, so they're going back to a deep throw. BYU getting good air with their jumper and holding them up well for the possession, and then they're just using their size and legs to drive it through. Once the ball goes down, then they go through their pick and go. We saw a similar strategy with Cal last week when they do the pick and go as well. So given the fourth try of the day for BYU.
Yep, and a 29-22 lead for St. Mary's pending this hammer conversion. A much tougher angle than seen earlier today from him, but he is on the more favorable right-footed side. Hammer makes his approach. This one up. Looks like it's tracking, and it's through. A big-time conversion there from the fullback. Just like that, the Gaels' lead is cut to 5. It's a 29-24 lead in favor of the home team, but BYU once again fighting back. This has really gone back and forth throughout the day.
Yeah, St. Mary's just needs to tighten their game up a little bit and eliminate some of these mistakes and make sure they stay hard on defense here.
This kickoff goes away. BYU does take possession. That's Hammer with it. BYU now carrying a little bit of momentum. We've seen that momentum swing back and forth. It seems when St. Mary's is clean with possession, they have a good time scoring. Those backs in space are so dangerous. They can just hold on to possession. Perry drops the ball behind the play at his own 22, and the Gaels get a big opportunity now.
Yeah, big mistake by BYU. It looked like he was doing what we did earlier. He's looking ahead, not focusing on catching the ball. Just a slight little mistake by the fly half from BYU, giving St. Mary's a scrum inside the 22.
Be tough when you're dealing with those Gaels players in your face and you're lining up that kick that you're going to go chase. Doesn't quite work out for BYU, and a big opportunity here for St. Mary's. And it seems like for both sides, it's just a matter of cleaning it up, taking advantage of your opportunities as Maudlin enters this one into the scrum, comes out clean. He's got Wakavesi. Wakavesi's got Pongi. Over to Bisag. Bisag's got Eric. Eric Storty now making a strong run, eventually taken down by Simu on the far side. Gaels doing a good job there in the ruck. Kayoshi now with possession, spins off one, runs through another, finally gets dragged down by a BYU defender, still holding possession. Eric with a quick touch pass there to Dom Bisag. This one going towards the middle. Kayoshi with a good strong-legged run. He's inside the 5. Maudlin's got Tingen now. Tingen going to try a strong run. Good tackling from the BYU side. St. Mary's keeping things very spaced out. Chalancif now going to try a run up the middle. Doesn't work out in his favor. Kayoshi tries a pick and go. Not quite able to get there. St. Mary's still possessing inside the 5. Another pick and go attempted. Tough to see what's going on in there. St. Mary's does have advantage. And they're going to move it back to that advantage spot.
Yeah, referee indicates that BYU was offsides. Going to a knee. Looks like Pono's down, needs a little bit of attention, but St. Mary's applying a lot of pressure there, similar to what BYU did earlier with the pick and go, looking for that gap there to try to get it through. You saw Pono a couple of times gain that line, give him more momentum, but good strong defense by BYU, not allowing any St. Mary's runner to get too far forward. Fortunately for St. Mary's, they played advantage on the offsides and was able to retain possession with the penalty.
Also fortunate for St. Mary's, Kayoshi back up on his feet. And that is good to see. That's important for them, especially when you're setting up a scrum on that 5-meter line. An opportunity for the Gaels to re-extend that lead, take back momentum. We get closer and closer to the end of this national semifinal. St. Mary's leading 29-24. A little over 13 minutes remaining on our scoreboard here at St. Mary's Stadium. Great semifinal match between these two. Kayoshi going to take it off the scrum, push his way inside the 5. Gaels now setting up a ruck. Tough to tell who that is down there. That's Wilson as he's taken down inside the 5. St. Mary's still trying to push this one in. Not a whole lot of ground to be gained. They're going to get it out wide to the backs, over the top. Tries to find Mario Storti. It bounces to Pongi. Pongi runs through one tackler. He's rolling down towards the try zone, and he's held up down near the sideline. Tough break for the Gaels, almost able to punch it in.
Yeah, good strong run by Pongi there. Looks like he delivered the aggressive blow there.
Yeah, Mendenhall down, and looks like he needs some attention from the trainer, the official calling for it to come on over. Our clock is stopped here on the scoreboard. The official wanted to make sure that this injury was taken care of. Of course, always want to make sure that all the players are okay at the end of the day. And Mendenhall laying on his back right now, being treated.
Yeah,
he was rolling around a little bit in pain a moment ago.
Yeah, he was definitely moving around a little bit, so they'll check on that. But St. Mary's with a great opportunity miss there. Looked like they were getting through some gaps. Strong run by Pongi. The rule is if it's held up in goal on that, BYU now will have a drop goal, has to go 5 meters from the goal line. So we'll see how St. Mary's lines up for this. It looks like BYU is still walking around when their injured player is being attended to. So we'll find out what kind of structure they put in place with their drop goal. Looks like they're going to have to replace this player, called by the trainer there. We hope he's okay.
Both sides also being given an opportunity to kind of catch their breath, get some water. Pretty important at this stage of the game. This is when you're going to start to see fatigue set in. We do have a couple subs for BYU. It looks like 22 and 21, both on Logan Humphrey and Thomas Johnson. Not too sure what positions they're replacing right now. Obviously, one of them will be replacing Zeb Mendenhall out on the wing. 21 is not entering the game, so I think that's just a straight Logan Humphrey sub in now for Mendenhall, who is walking off the field with a little bit of help, but good to see him walking. Now, as you mentioned, they're going to start with this kick. The official puts us back in play. Time is continuing again. We have about 12 minutes and change up on the scoreboard. This one kicked away. Mario Storti waiting for it right at midfield. He's going to find Wakavesi to his left. Wakavesi looks to make a step. He steps through the line. He found the gap. Wakavesi's got support. He's going to give it to Eric Storti. Eric Storti is into the try zone and down for the try. St. Mary's extends the lead. Great skill from Wakavesi over to Eric Storti.
Yeah, a little nervous with that ball bouncing after the drop goal, but handled well by Mario, and a quick out to Junior. And Junior, with all the experience and ability he has, saw the gap, couple of nice, beautiful steps there. One defender had Eric Storti to his outside, drew the defender perfectly, popped it out, perfect pass to Eric Storti. All that was left was for him to come in and center the ball a little bit and touch it down for the 6th try of the day for St. Mary's.
And that's a big one. Makes it a 2-possession lead for the Gaels as we get closer and closer to that 10-minute mark. Still 11 minutes and change on the scoreboard. Not too sure how much the officials' watch might differ with how he stopped for injury time and such. But BYU really needs to get on the attack if they want a chance in this one. We've seen them do it. They're capable. They've shown no signs of quitting in any game they've played all season long. They're definitely a team capable of fighting back.
Yeah, they've put 24 points on St. Mary's already, so they obviously have the horses to run the race. So unfortunate miss by Mario there. Gaels still up by 10.
Yeah, still a 2-try lead despite the misconversion. Mario, it's tough to tell from our angle, but the way he was leaning, it seemed like he was kind of hoping that maybe it was through the uprights. It can always be tough to tell when the ball gets up higher than those posts. But either way, it's going to be a 34-24 St. Mary's lead. 10-point lead with about 10 minutes. Eric Storti battling the sun does take that one in. He kicks this one over into touch. Perry is going to actually go for the line out. Thought about going with the quick throw in, but decides to let his team get set.
Yeah, had his wing out there, was looking at the quick pass, but to his credit, very good identification because all he had was the wing. Everybody else from BYU was in front of the ball. So they would not have had very much support there with a couple of Gael defenders. So wise move by
BYU. You're correct. He did a good job identifying the moment. This one goes wide to Perry, and he is drilled by Eric Storti. This one now on the ground. B-Sag's going to kick it all the way to the try zone. Going to be caught up to and down by Simu, but Perry's down behind the play. You hate to see it. It was a tough one, kind of a pop pass up to him. Kind of like when you see a wide receiver going over the middle in a football game, just a little bit of a vulnerable position for Perry. He does look like he's going to get right back up and continue playing, which is good to see.
Yeah, very good to see. He's a fantastic player. Good strong tackle there by the Gaels.
And they high-five as well. I want to point out him and Eric. They're all good.
Good. Just a good quick kick by, I think it was B-Sag there.
B-Sag,
chased down by Eric and Dom right there. Unfortunate to them. The BYU player was a little bit further ahead of him. Dropped it down or touched it down, giving BYU the same
we saw a moment ago what St. Mary's was able to do in this situation with this opportunity. BYU makes some changes to their forwards. A couple more subs coming in. BYU going to opt to kick this one a little bit shorter, but B-Sag able to come away with it. Finds Mario Storti. He dummies to Wakavesi. He's still got it. Running through a couple tacklers, putting him in the spin cycle is Mario. Now it's out to Wakavesi. He's got Eric Storty, who's got Kayoshi. Kayoshi not able to find the line. Good tackle there from BYU. Maudlin's going to go out to Tingen. Tingen now fighting. He's got a strong-legged run. Not able to gain too many meters, but at least able to get back to the origin of the first pass. And Maudlin steps through. Maudlin gets into the try zone and touches it down. Hunter Maudlin does it himself.
What a great identification there by Maudlin. The BYU defense is really trying to come up hard, take the space away from St. Mary's. Maudlin, very experienced player from Jesuit High School, sees it. Their post player took 2 steps out. Maudlin sees it. Nice little quick dummy. Ran right behind that defender and was able to touch it down for the 7th try of the day for St. Mary's. What a wonderful read by Hunter Maudlin, very intelligent rugby player, who I understand is the most fit person on the field.
Oh, by far.
Every field he steps on.
I've been told he is the most fit by far. And when you get into the waning moments of a big-time game, as everybody starts to fatigue, that's when a guy like him shines. All that hard work paying off. He's able to get a try of his own, not just setting up others for tries, getting some himself. Mario Storti now lines up the kick with a 15-point lead. And St. Mary's just a few minutes away from sealing the deal and punching their ticket to Houston to face Navy in the national championship. The reigning champions in Navy, a very good side from the East.
Yeah, you've heard nothing but great things about Navy and how well they play. St. Mary's has about 8 more minutes left in the game to really take care of business, and we'll see how that ends up. Bringing big John Henry Rouse onto the field, replacing Hunter Chalancef. Great day by Hunter Chalancef. You saw him plenty of times with the ball. Reminds me of back in the 80s with big-ass Kenny, who was able to run around quite a bit. Big guy, very athletic, was able to pass and catch with anybody. Unfortunately, he's not a very good golfer, but shout out to Big Dave Kenny, as well as all those guys back in the 80s.
We've mentioned the program so many times. The foundation was set by those guys. Wakavesi with a good take there on the kickoff. Adding to the subs, I see Enzo D'Augusta out there for the Gaels. As you mentioned, John Henry Rouse. And a couple of other subs as well. I believe Negretti might have come on to the pitch. He did. So a few subs for the Gaels, getting some more guys into the action here with just a few minutes remaining. Eric Storty goes for a little chip over the top. Perry takes possession, but he's going to be tackled by Pongi. Pongi doing a good job. Eric Storty not able to bring the counter ruck. John Henry Rouse immediately seeing action alongside Tingen. I believe that was Sione Ofa in there on the tackle. Good, strong defense. D'Augusta getting in there strong as well. BYU swings this one out to the right. That's the winger. And 14, Cielo Sigala. He's taken down by a couple of Gaels tacklers. They're doing a good job on the defense here. BYU not just battling the Gaels at this point, but battling the time left on the clock as well. Trying to find a line. There's just not much to be found in that St. Mary's defensive structure. Very strong and disciplined right now. There's the 8-man. That's Ben Austin, who goes down. A strong counter ruck coming from the Gaels. John Henry knew he tried to pull his hands back out, and the call is made by the official.
Yeah, unfortunate there. Eric Storty was in perfect position to poach that ball. John Henry pushed him forward and put Eric on the ground, which is what the referee saw, making it offsides position, giving BYU a chance to kick for touch here.
Yeah, so a big opportunity for BYU. They need a lot if they want to get back into this one. Trailing by 17, 41-24. And the Gaels just a few minutes away from advancing to their second national championship appearance in just the past 3 years.
Yeah, we'll see if BYU does the same thing. They've thrown it to the back of the line out. I think it's the number 4. Had a nice percentage of completion there with that group, so we'll see where the ball goes.
Definitely right about that, and you called it correctly. They tried to then also push it back towards the middle. After relieving that pressure, it drops, but backwards, so they're safe. And BYU done a good job on their lineouts once they figured out how much pressure St. Mary's was applying to those middle players. And this ruck getting real messy. Not a whole lot of space for either side to really operate. BYU still pushing. They're inside the 5 with advantage. McReady asking for some help. Helps in the tackle. He's telling some of the guys to shift towards the middle. BYU has nobody on the outside, but St. Mary's has multiple defenders on the outside. And there is the overlap. St. Mary's was ready for it. Perry goes out wide to the flanker. And then the try is scored.
Nope.
No, it is not scored. Thank you, Marty.
Yep, knock on by number 7. Wyatt Perry with a pass that had a little bit of juice on it right there. Playing advantage, though, so they get the ball back. Penalty. I'm not sure what the referee is saying.
Yeah, that is my mistake from my angle up here. It was tough to see that knock on.
Is that a yellow card?
Ball was dropped. It does look like that might be a yellow card. BYU sends a player off and nobody coming on for him, or is that John Wilson headed off?
Looks like John Wilson's headed off to the sideline. Not sure exactly if that's a yellow. Couldn't tell what was in the referee's hand there.
This part of the pitch is the toughest part for us to see. That's why we're having a little bit of trouble knowing what's going on here. It looks like Coakley was down for a moment, but he's all right. John Wilson now on the sideline. He's being seen by the trainer on the far side.
Well, maybe it wasn't a yellow card.
Yeah,
maybe
we're trying to. Yeah, exactly. Perry's going to go quick tap. Then he finds the 17 substitution for BYU, who drives all the way into the try zone, and it's held up by the Gaels. Looks like that was Zach Worthington who had possession and drove in initially. St. Mary's doing a great job on the defense. Looks like Eric Storty down at the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, good strong defense there by St. Mary's. A quick tap and go by, or not a quick tap, but a tap and go by BYU. Now St. Mary's has to kick for touch or drop kick out of their own try line, which you saw BYU do earlier twice.
So Wakavesi, this one taken by the BYU flanker, by Tohi. He's got a good, strong run. Not quite able to get to that 5-meter line, but definitely makes up some ground. And BYU forwards going to push it across the 5-meter line, help him push forward. But BYU is running out of time. St. Mary's closer and closer to clinching that spot in the national championship. BYU still inside the 5-meter line, looking for some ground, not able to get any. Looks like Worthington does get it down this time for BYU, cutting the lead to 12, 41-29. But there's less than 2 minutes remaining on the scoreboard.
Referee's going to have a conversation with Pono, the captain. It looks like he's not happy with St. Mary's being offsides. I'm not sure exactly what he's saying. That BYU had advantage, was able to put it through for the try. The problem with that style of rugby is it takes so long to score, right? So you've seen St. Mary's score within seconds. That prodding style, that pick and go style, as long as it's defended well, takes a long time to score, giving BYU a try there and a pretty straightforward conversion attempt here. It looks like the referee just started the clock again. Not sure how much time is left. We have less than a minute on our scoreboard, but we'll see what it's like.
Yeah, and Hammer's taking his time with this kick. You would think still down 2 possessions, you want to try and hurry it up a little bit as they trail by 12. And this kick would just cut it to a 10-point lead. Does kick this one and drives it through successfully, so the time was used properly, but St. Mary's still leading by 10 as time runs down in this one. St. Mary's obviously going to take their time as they head out to kick this one off. And maybe the clock was stopped. No, because you were right. They started it a moment ago.
We've had a couple injuries, though, a couple of times. Maybe our scoreboard clock didn't stop. Looks like the referee is either that's 5 minutes or he's telling everybody to wait.
The only way we'll be able to tell is if we just wait and see as Hammer goes up and maintains possession of this kickoff. Gaels doing a strong job tackling. If they just continue with their defensive structure, they should be fine. That one almost knocked on maybe it was the official now making a call, and he is going to call that knock on.
Yeah, it was knocked on. Looked like he tried to recover and maybe knocked it on again, but a mistake made by BYU. And the referee is calling for a sub.
I believe.
So what you're able to do is if the prop is out, and it may end up being a yellow card. We'll have to get confirmation on that. But what you're allowed to do is if a prop or front row player is the one sent off, you can replace that player and bring another back off the field. So you're still playing with 14, but they allow you for safety reasons to bring in another front row player.
And it looked like Chalancif is the one re-entering while Toia Ivao steps off for the moment. Kayoshi takes this one out. Wakavesi now has it. He goes wide to Negretti. Negretti not able to possess, a little bit high and behind him. Going to result in a BYU line out, it appears. Nope, they're going to elect for a scrum.
Scrum down. Look, I think they're going to call the knock on Jake Negretti, who came in earlier in this second half. St. Mary's, again, they had some space there. They just need to handle that ball a little bit better, but still putting some pressure on BYU. Haven't seen BYU score a lot of tries from inside their 22, but they certainly have some athletes out there, and St. Mary's is a man down right now. So we'll see how that plays a role in the next 2, 3, 4 minutes, whatever's left.
Yeah, not too sure how much time is left. BYU needs to get on the offensive side for sure, though, as they still trail by 10. St. Mary's doing a good job tackling once again off the scrum. This one bouncing away. BYU just no ground to work with. St. Mary's closing gaps very quickly. There's Worthington, the man who just scored the try with a good strong run. He's able to pick up some meters. This one swung towards the near side. Chalancif, who's back in with a big tackle. One swung out wide again. Does go backwards, so no knock on. But again, BYU having a tough time maintaining possession. One goes out to the right. They're going to try and find that gap. Again, nothing there. This time it's the winger who's running very strong and picking up a few meters, but still not the line or gap I think BYU was hoping for. This one goes over the top. Perry steps one. They've got numbers here on the outside. Gaels going to try and close this ground. Eric Storty comes crashing in on Campbell. But again, some territory gained. This one backwards, so not a knock-on once again. BYU pitching this one now towards the middle of the pitch. They're across the Gaels 40, but still not sure how much time is left. They still need a couple of tries, and this time Hammer tries to swing it out wide, knocks it on. Bisag takes it. He's going to go all the way for the Gaels and seal their berth to the national championship.
Yeah, BYU is just doesn't look like they're designed to play that open style of rugby. Looked like they got in front of their skis a bit there, and unfortunately for them, gave the ball up. Bisag picks it up with nothing but green in front of him, outruns the defender, and dots it down for the 8th try of the day for St. Mary's.
An incredible offensive showing from this side. A few mishandles and situations like that earlier on, but when you get those backs into space, boy, are they dangerous.
Yeah, it looks like referee indicates the end of the game.
This one kicked through by Storty, and that will do it. St. Mary's heading back to the national championship in Houston. Once again, they have booked their date with Navy for 2 weeks from the day. A 48-31 victory for the Gaels, and their season will continue as far as it can. Marty, what'd you think about today? And give thoughts on the season as a whole as well.
Yeah, without losing to a college team yet this year, they're in great position to continue on. But what you've seen throughout the season is some sturdy defense, some forwards that have a lot of skills. We may not be the biggest, we may not be the tallest, but when it comes to skills spread out throughout the forward pack and the back line, so far we're unmatched. And you see some very dynamic running, gap running, every one of the backs. Junior Wakavesi is such a great leader out there and really controls the patterns that they put in into play there, and then Pono with, with that strong front row with Hunter, John Wilson, Deegan, and Kieran both really set the stage there. You saw a lot of great work. Leighton Dezell did a lot of great work today as well. King Matu, every one of their play. You can keep going up and down the line. All 15,
exactly.
16, 17 that played. Just an outstanding season thus far. One more rung to climb, as they say.
Exactly. One more game to go. The national championship will be in 2 weeks in Houston on the Rugby Network. That's going to do it for us here in Moraga. Thank you so much for tuning in. Marty, thank you so much for joining me. It's going to be it for us here. I'm Griffin Snyder signing off. Always a pleasure here from Moraga.